Well, good afternoon, good morning, depending on where you are logging in from, and welcome to the D9 Situation Room. My name is Dr. Stacy N.C. Grant. I have the pleasure of being the International President and CEO of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated, but today functioning in my role as the chairwoman of the Divine Nine NPHC Council of Presidents. We welcome you to our first D9 Situation Room of 2026, closing out this first quarter together. It is Women's History Month. I hope you have been celebrating all of the leaders that we represent, the women who came before us and are still paving the way. And I'm joined by our distinguished panel of Divine Nine Presidents. So we're about to give you your roll call time so that you can go ahead and put it in the chat, tell your friends, share the link, let them know that the D9 Situation Room is live, and we have a lot of special guests who are joining us today to inform community about the work that is necessary and needed for such a time as this. This is a reminder. We are nonpartisan organizations looking to continue to support and educate our communities during these unprecedented times. This town hall will be our opportunity to do just that, inform and educate you. So, the purpose of the MPHC, for those who don't know, and you might happen on this recording, is to foster cooperative actions amongst our members. All of us collectively represent over a century of work, of scholarship, of sisterhood, of brotherhood. And we are honoring who our founders set out for us to make the communities better than how we found them. So sit back, relax, grab your favorite beverage, forward this recording to someone, and enjoy our D9 Situation Room. At this time, I'm going to introduce one by one our Council of Presidents, starting in founding order. And the first one, so let me hear all the drum roll for the members of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, your General President, Lucian Metellus.
And thank you, Madam Chair. And I wanted to first give a shout out because this is an important time in our community. D9 truly is stronger together. The men of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated are not only focused on voteless people as a hopeless people, but we have a goal of registering 100,000 new Black male voters in these unprecedented times. It is important that our voices be heard, and we're excited about doing this together. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, General President. And next, let the ladies of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated sound off in the chat for your International President and CEO, Danette Anthony Reed.
Good afternoon. This is Danette Anthony Reed, International President and CEO of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. And we are D9, Stronger Together. And during these unprecedented times, members of Alpha Kappa Alpha understand this is our moment. This is time for us to stand united in the work of advocating for social justice. Our collective voices is needed now more than ever as we navigate unprecedented social, political, and economic uncertainty. Together, we must soar to the polls and drive meaningful change as we approach the 2026 midterm elections. Turning it back to you.
Thank you so much, Madam President. And we know that he is currently on a flight, but he is represented in the chat with all the brothers of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. Our vice chair is your Grand Polemarch, Jimmy McMichael. So he will join us as soon as the plane lands safely, but know that he is encouraged with the work of the brothers of Kappa Alpha Psi just coming out of one of your province meetings. And we know that we are excited to continue the collaboration together and also representing that very special year. I think I see a few brothers of the purple and gold representing from Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, Grand Basilisk Ricky Lewis.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning from Los Angeles, California. My name is Ricky Lewis, and I'm the leader of the Qs. I'm the Grand Bosses of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity. It's good to be before you. The men of Omega Psi Phi in these unprecedented times is focused on voter registration, education, and mobilization. particularly the mobilization piece. That's the piece we got to get, the mobilization. When we vote, we win. We're encouraging all our members, everyone in our community to get out to vote, get out to vote, get out to vote. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Absolutely, Grand Basilisk Lewis. And representing in the chat, I see a little bit of the ladies of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, represented by your international president and CEO, Cheryl Turner.
Great day, Madam Chair. My name is Cheryl Turner, and I am honored to be the international president of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, and we are D9 Stronger Together. During these unprecedented times, members of Delta are empowered, engaged, and intentional in the fight to repeal laws that negatively impact our communities. We stand in unity with our D9 brothers and sisters and allies in this fight. Our members pledge to register no less than 2 each for the 22. We are in this fight with you.
Well, we are glad to be in the fight with you, my sister president. And I see that we also have some brothers of the Debonair Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated, represented by International President David A. Turner.
Good afternoon. David Turner, Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated. And during this time, very recently, we introduced our Phi Beta Sigma Civic Center, our online portal where we're not just tracking and mobilizing voter registration, voter turnout, but we're also ramping up our focus on policy from the local level all the way up to the national level. And so as we head toward the midterm elections, we're not just focused on parties or people, but we're focused on the policies that will move our organization, our communities forward.
Absolutely, Brother President. And I get the honor of representing the finer women of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. And I am Dr. Stacey N.C. Grant, International President and CEO. And we are D9 Stronger Together. And during these unprecedented times, members of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated are embracing the extraordinary power of she, advocating for social justice, health justice, and economic justice at home and abroad. We understand our collective efforts are going to be exactly what we need to get us through these unprecedented times. Our founders did more with less. Our foremothers and forefathers gave their lives for us to be able to have and protect our rights and freedoms. So we stand in solidarity with our sister and brother presidents as we do this work together. And it gives me great joy to welcome the ladies of Royal Blue and Gold of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated, represented by your international Grand Basilisk, Marika Harris.
Good afternoon to my presidents on the call on this beautiful day. My name is Marika Harris, and I serve as the international president of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated, and we are D9 Stronger Together. During these unprecedented times, members and affiliates of Sigma Gamma Rho are required to activate. What does activate mean? Advocate to raise awareness and build support for our priorities. Collaborate, especially with our D9 partners, to ensure that we are aligned with our communities. Train, educate one Sigma in the public on advocacy. Influence, engage policymakers and leaders to drive change. Voice, amplify underrepresented and marginalized voices. Act, to take tangible steps through lobbying, rallies, and outreach. Transform, create meaningful and sustainable societal impact. And empower, inspire individuals and groups to lead and take action. We support our D9 brothers and sisters. It is time for us to stand up, show out, and support our communities. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Grand Basilisk Harris. And now the gentleman of Iota Phi Theta Fraternity Incorporated. Let's see you in the chat for your Grand Polaris, Orlando Grant.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am excited to be here because not only why I'm excited to be here with my friends and colleagues, we are really pushing the mantra forward of D9 Stronger Together. Starting today and throughout the rest of the year, we're going to be very intentional, because we know when we were founded in 1963, a lot of the same challenges that we faced in 63, we're still facing today. But the men of IOTA, along with my colleague and our counterpart organizations, have decided to be intentional in our efforts to help change what is taking place by taking ourselves to the polls. But not only taking ourselves to the polls, getting registered, getting engaged, getting empowered, and getting educated to be more of an active voice in our community, starting at the local level all the way up to the federal level. What we desire to see is all within our grasp, all within our reach. So we're going to do everything in our power, starting with our Year of the 63 campaign, where we're going to be registering 63,000 people to vote in the year of 63. We're excited about all these opportunities, and we're looking forward to doing this work moving forward as we take our country and our communities and making sure that we are educating them on the purpose and what it is to be active and engaged citizens of our country. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Grant Polaris Grant. And rounding us off is the National President for our Pan-Hellenic Council, Michael Kinlock.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Again, good afternoon. My name is Michael Kinlock, and I am the National President of the National Pan-Hellenic Council Incorporated, and we are D9 Stronger Together. The National Pan-Hellenic Council is here to support the initiative of the Council of Presidents, because again, I want to make it clear that we are not a 10th organization. But during these unprecedented times, the members of the National Pan-Hellenic Councils are actively engaged in driving civic actions, advancing health equity, promoting education, and fighting for economic justice across our communities. And additionally, our members are leading with purpose, unity, and impact. Thank you.
Thank you, President Kinlock. That's right. We all come together under the umbrella of the National Pan-Hellenic Council so that we can be D9 Stronger Together. So many of you are in the chat. You are placing your organizational colors. You are telling us where you're logging in from. And thank you for continuing to reiterate that we are stronger together. So that's the first assignment of the day. Let me see you put it in the chat. Hashtag D9 Stronger Together. One team, one sound. For those of you that play sports, you know how important it is for everyone to be focused on the goal. I didn't volunteer to be a football mom, but my son saw it that way. So it's about getting in that end zone, and you can't do it with one person. You have to do it with the entire team. So this is the team. These are the women and the men who are leading the D9. We are outside of the Black church and our civic organizations that we know are historic organizations. We're the largest entity that can effectuate change. You'll hear from representatives of our organization who serve from the government space to entertainment to the corporate industries. All of us have representation throughout this country and abroad because our founders were innovative and who were determined to create space to, one, make sure that we can get educated. So let's remember that we were all founded at a time where it wasn't popular for those of us of color to be able to receive a college education. So scholarship is at the core of what we represent, not just the step shows and the parties and the strolls that you see. We are here because we take care of business, and scholarship is the first and service is the second. And we do it in a community of sisterhood and brotherhood. So before we wrap up our first segment, I'm going to open it up to our presidents to just share what's your fondest memory of being a member of your esteemed organization. This wasn't planned, so I'm putting them on the spot. So you know we can have a little fun. We take care of the work, we handle the business, but we are human beings who love our organizations and remember our first experience in deciding that this was going to be a way we could use our God-given talents to make this world better than how we found them. So we'll go in reverse order this time. So Grant Polaris, what is your highlight of being a member of Iota Phi Theta Fraternity Incorporated?
Well, I must admit, thank you very much for allowing us to be first, because we love to take take the lead in many things that we do. And we're going to do it despite our years of existence or our size and matter. But today is actually my IOTAversary, and I celebrate 31 years of this amazing organization. And I remember the day like it was yesterday when I became a member of this amazing organization, even prior to us being a part of the National Panhellenic Council. So my fondest memory was today, but my second was when we actually joined the NPHC, we had 7 of our living founders at the actual induction ceremony in Indianapolis in 1997. So that was one of many, the friendships and the bonds across this country. But that was a special moment outside of the 50th, because that was where I first met 7 of our living founders. So I would leave you with that. And right. I'm appreciative of being here as part of this opportunity as well.
Well, happy IOTAversary, and we're glad that we could be here to celebrate it with you. And we're going to go to you, Grand Basilisk Marika Harris. What is your fondest memory of being a proud member of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated?
Thank you. I'm going to stick with Orlando. I had the opportunity as an undergraduate back in 1995. Traveled to Indiana with my line sisters, and she said she knew where one of the last living founders lived. So we just randomly walked to the house, rang the doorbell, and they let us in. And so we had the opportunity to meet one of our last living founders, sit at her feet, ask her questions about the sorority and why it was founded. To me, that was one of the most memorable experiences, to actually go and talk to somebody who decided to create this organization and learn from her why and the need of the community at that time. So I will forever cherish that opportunity and memory.
Well, I think I'll join you in sharing memories myself, because it was at my first regional conference that I had the opportunity to meet one of our last living founder, Founder Faithful, and had a chance to just be in her presence, and then later on getting a chance to meet and talk with her at our national convention. I will treasure that forever, because you have to think about all of our organizations. We were young college co-eds. Our founders were young college co-eds. They had a dream, they had a vision, and we're sitting here as a result of their vision and carrying on the legacy. So that's my memory. And I'm gonna turn it over to my brother, constitutionally bound, brother of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated, David Turner. What is your fondest memory from Phi Beta Sigma?
In Orlando, I will have 35 years 1 week from today. But I think one of my, I'll say one more recent fondest moments was actually our Founders Day this year. And so for my first time in 35 years, I actually visited the Bowen Room at the 12th Street Y. And that's the room, which is now the Thurgood Marshall Center in DC. But that's the space where our founders and our charter members met to actually organize Phi Beta Sigma. So after 35 years, I was able to visit that space and really explore the history and feel the history in that room from day one of Phi Beta Sigma.
Wow, that is absolutely wonderful. And I can't wait to hear from my sister president, Cheryl Turner. What's your fondest memory from Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated?
So many, so very many. But the one that I want to share with you this morning is our reenactment and our reaffirmation of the march, the suffrage march, when well over 20,000 members of our sorority marched down the path of the suffrage march that took place in 1913, where our founders risked their lives, put their bodies on the line to step out for a cause that they knew they didn't have an immediate impact with, but they knew that if they stepped into the suffrage march, women down the line would have the right to vote. So I'm just so proud of that, and the fact that it reaffirmed for us our reason for being a Delta, and that is that's in our DNA. Social justice is what we do, and every year we step in to be with other groups like these D9 presidents, and we are indeed stronger together because of that.
Oh, I love it. I absolutely love it. Thank you so much, President Turner. And I don't know about the Qs. Let's see what Grand Bachelor Lewis, what's your fondest memory, President of the Qs?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. I get my 45-year service pin this year in Cincinnati.
Wow.
45 years in this great fraternity. I'm honored. But I'm really honored when I think about when I meet these brothers who are 100 years old, and they've been in the fraternity for 75 and 80 years. And they begin to tell us stories about how the frat was back then and met the founders and the struggles they've had. So when I meet these brothers who are 100 years old, who've been in the frat for 75 and 80 years, I'm just like a baby in the candy store. I'm just so excited to meet them. And there's still some of those brothers still alive. So those are my fondest memories. And then when we get to the conclave, when we give these awards out, these service awards out to brothers with 65 and 70, 75 and 80. Had one brother had 85 years of service in the organization. I'm just humble and grateful to get a chance to meet those brothers who've laid down the foundation for this great organization. I yield, Madam Chair.
I love it. Thank you for sharing that memory, Grand Basilisk. Lewis, we know that Grand Polemark, I'm sure, has a ton of memories that he would share, but I would think that I could peek into his crystal ball and say when his son became a member of Kappa Alpha Psi, it must have been a proud memory for him to see his legacy continue. And then we're going to turn it over to my other sister president, the one and only Danette Anthony Reed from Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. What was your fondest memory, Madam President? Oh, you're muted, Madam President. We don't want to miss a word.
I'm sorry. This is so hard, but let me tell you this. This is my 50th year as a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha. I was like 10, when I came into the organization, but this is the 50th year. And I have done so many things throughout those years, and I just totally love it. I think what I would say is the things right now that are key to me is our future, the next generation, and the ability to connect with all of them and talk to them about how important it is that we carry this organization on to the future. And that's why the things, no matter what it is, whether it's the service we do, how we advocate for social justice, how we enhance our environment, all those little pieces are so important, because if we don't carry it on, if we don't tell them the traditions, tell them where we're going, we'll lose it and we won't have it. And this is something that I've learned and thought about, and everyone has helped me celebrate through these 50 years that I am so excited to be here and hopefully to be able to continue to share all those things. So I love it. Totally love it.
And we love you. Congratulations again on becoming a Golden Sword. That is a wonderful milestone in your journey. So congratulations, and we celebrate you. And then we're going to round it off with the men of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, led by your General President, Lucia Metellus. What's your fondest memory of being a member of Alpha Phi Alpha?
I'm going to shout out something Orlando always says: the first shall be last and the last shall be first. Orlando. Yes, sir. There are so many great memories, but I will tell you something that happened to me recently. I can talk about the Centennial Convention, being at Cornell when Alpha turned 100 years old, but it's something may seem insignificant to everybody, but it meant the world to me. I was at the gas station and I was wearing paraphernalia, Madam Chair, and a young man, college, I could tell he was in college, approached me and said, "Hey, you're the General President of Alpha Phi Alpha. I wanted to thank you because of Alpha Phi Alpha, I was able to afford to go to college." He was a junior, biology major, and because of the work that the local chapter in Tennessee had done, he was able to afford to go to college. He said his family didn't have the money for him to go to college. And because of the work that Alpha Phi Alpha did, and that we all do, he was able to go to college. And I didn't ask him if he was thinking about joining a fraternity or anything else like that. I just told him, call me if you ever need anything. And he did. And he talked to me, and he was having a situation personally. So it's really important to remember that we as a group have real impact on the lives of people that we don't even know yet. And so when we do the work, and when we are out here registering people to vote, when we're out here providing scholarships, when we're out here doing prayer services, we're really helping people in places that we don't even foresee. So I think when we talk about D9 Stronger Together, it's not only about those of us in the organization, It's about all the people in the communities we affect.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing your story. Thank you to the entire Council of Presidents for being here. So one more time in the chat, put your colors in, shout everybody out. Remember, hashtag D9 Stronger Together. We're going to allow our presidents to transition to our virtual green room while we get ready for our next segment, where we're going to have members of Congress who actually represent the constituency across this country and our organizations, showing you that we do have opportunities for everyone to see our impact and our work. So as we bring them forward, I'm going to start with two that are here. I have Representative Terry Sewell and Representative Robin Kelly, who are here, and we're going to get them on stage as our president's transition, and we're going to have a lot of interaction for these 2 hours. So don't blink. You might miss something because they're coming in fast and furious as we move everyone to and fro that are able to join us today to give you information about what is going on in community. So with that being said, I want to thank both Representative Sewell and Kelly for being here, for being a part of our D9 Situation Room so that we can hear from you. What is going on in America? And some of your colleagues are going to be coming in and joining us as well so they can inform our constituents on what we need to be aware of. We know the midterms are coming. Everyone's talking about midterms. But before we get to the midterms, there's some serious issues happening. Supreme Court. There's information about the SAVE Act, and somebody help TSA get back to work. All right, let me stop. Representative Kelly, introduce yourself. Tell everyone who you represent as well as your organization affiliation.
Well, hello, dear chairperson and someone who I love so much, and you know that. I am Congresswoman Robin Kelly. I represent the 2nd Congressional District of Illinois. That's the Chicagoland area. My district is truly urban, suburban, and rural, and I've been a proud member of Sigma Gamma Rho. In December, it'll be 50 years.
Wow, 50 years, another 50-year service member of our organization. So thank you so much for being here. And we also have Representative Terry Sewell, who has joined us. So we're going to have you introduce yourself, where you serve, and your organization affiliation, Congresswoman.
Well, hello, Madam President. It's so great to be on this program, and with my esteemed colleague, Robin Kelly, dear friend. I'm Congresswoman Terry Sewell. I proudly represent Alabama's 7th Congressional District. It includes the historic civil rights cities of Birmingham, Tuscaloosa, and my hometown of Selma, Alabama. I have been a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated for over 35 years. Not a golden soror, but definitely a silver star. And I'm the proud daughter of the 18th Southeastern Regional Director, Miss Nancy Gardner Sewell. And so it's an honor for me to be on this platform with you all today to discuss what's going on, or better yet, what's not going on in Congress.
Well, we appreciate that. And a few more of your colleagues will be joining us through this segment. And we also have another guest who frequents CNN to give us the political commentary. So she's non-affiliated, but adjacent to this work.
It's all love. It's all love.
We got to have allies. We got to have allies.
We do. And she is my dear sister and friend, Karen Finney, commentator, political strategist, member of multiple organizations that I won't name, just in the work, doing the work. So we're going to start with Congresswoman Kelly and Sewell. What would you name as the top 3 issues that our community needs to drill down on in what we see? Because some folks are getting worn out. They feel like, why bother? Why stay engaged? And we're all here as a D9 to encourage our members to keep encouraging themselves, because as the song says, somebody got to encourage yourself, and the communities that we serve. So Congresswoman Kelly.
Well, first of all, hello, Karen. I always tell everybody, you cannot get weary. This is not the time. You cannot get lost in the chaos. You can't go in your house and close the door. That we need every single person off the sideline. Everyone can do something. As you know, it's no secret. I just got off of a tough campaign. And what I talked about, what I heard about a lot was affordability. People are afraid, they're concerned, they're angry. We're in a war that nobody or almost nobody wants to be in. I'll say Democrat and Republican spending a lot of money. People are concerned about health care. Premiums have doubled and tripled because of the ACA premium tax cuts being taken away. So those are the things, that I've heard about: affordability, healthcare, and also just really the corruption in government. As Terry knows, I'm going to say we got to take the money out of campaigning and in government, because it does corrupt, and there's too much of it going on now, especially out of 1600. The address.
Well, here's the thing. We do our part to ensure that we inform the electorate so they can make decisions as nonpartisan organizations. We don't tell you who to vote for or how to vote, but we make sure we inform you with the information so you can have an educated vote. So thank you for sharing that. We're going to go to Congresswoman Sewell. You tell us what you feel you want this electorate to understand and how to be informed.
Well, I wouldn't be representing my hometown if I didn't say that voting rights is on the ballot as well. The biggest threat right now to our the election, the midterm election, is whether or not this, the current party will steal the election. So we got to make sure that we are equipped with knowing what the requirements are to go and vote. And until we become in the majority and can change it, we have to make sure that we provide that documentation. I think the biggest threat right now to voting rights is the SAVE Act, which is an act that was debated on the Senate floor, I think, for a whole weekend. And luckily, I never thought I'd say this since it was the reason why the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act didn't come, but there's something called a filibuster in the Senate, and it stopped the SAVE Act from getting on the floor. But our Republican colleagues have been pushing forward a bill called the SAVE Act, and it does everything but save us from their tyranny, actually. And what it would do is it would make it illegal to show anything but your driver's license or your birth certificate. So it would take away being able to, in order to get a ballot, not to just register to vote, but in order to get a ballot.
Absolutely.
It is clearly an effort to voter suppress, not to encourage people to vote, and it is supposed to be getting at un-American. Non-citizens voting in our elections. This is what it's supposed to get rid of. But we already know it's illegal for non-Americans to vote. It is already illegal. There are already penalties and fines for that. And we also know that voter fraud is minuscule, like 0.0001%. So what are they doing if not trying to stop certain populations from voting? And it's unacceptable, and we're not going to stand for it. And I guess the other big thing that my constituents are talking about is the TSA lines and the long lines that are there at the airport, as well as, of course, the craziness that has been ICE and what happened in Minneapolis. So those are the issues that my constituents have been top of mind. Of course, affordability, as Robin said, the prices of gas have gone up at the pump, and it's just, people are really scared. They really are scared.
Absolutely. And we've been joined by the chairperson for the Congressional Black Caucus, who is, on the road and said she was going to make sure she got on today as well to represent. So as we make sure that her audio is here, Representative, are you able to hear us, my dear Congresswoman Clark? I don't think she can. We're going to just check her, and we're going to go to you, Karen, while we make sure, because she's coming in from out of the country. So we want to make sure that she can be heard as well. But Representative Sewell, as someone who just came out of the airport this morning on a red eye, we definitely appreciate what we can do to get our government functioning. 3 branches of government were intended to be able to have checks and balances. So something is missing. As I tell our members, as a nonpartisan organization, it's not about Republican and Democrat. It's about a democracy that's failing. And how do we make sure that we get everything back on track? So Karen, I'm going to kick it over to you because you're covering the story every day.
Yes.
You're keeping us informed. What do you want us to know?
Well, a couple quick things. I want us to remember that the reason we're having these lines at TSA is because members like Congresswoman Sewell and Congresswoman Kelly are standing up for us when we said we want accountability with these ICE agents who are running around our country, without proper warrants, without proper identification, without, wearing masks. And Democrats said, hey, let's make sure they've got some accountability, and the majority of the American people want that. And that's part of why, and Republicans control everything. This is not about money, right? This is about Trump wants to allow his militia to continue, which I call them his militia, to run free. So I think it's important folks know that these congresswomen are part of standing up for us and standing up for accountability and our safety. So I want to mention that real quick. I'll just add, you talked about the SAVE Act. We got to vote, y'all. And we have millions of Black Americans who are eligible, who aren't registered. And so one of the things we are taking on as a collective, one of the groups that Dr. Stacey and I are part of, and I know y'all have been so supportive of, the Black Women's Leadership Collective, which is part of Power Rising and all these other wonderful groups, to take on this idea of let's be reaching out. Let's start even with our own friends and family and help make sure people are getting registered to vote, and that we're then having conversations and keeping them engaged, and understand that voting is not a one-time thing. It's got to be a habit. It's a lifestyle. And it's also, they wouldn't, as they always say, they wouldn't be trying so hard to keep us from voting if our votes didn't matter. I mean, look at the ways we've had, this one, Congresswoman Kelly, we've had so many special elections this year where we've seen small margins make a big difference when people come out to vote. I see Congresswoman Clark coming back, so I don't want to take too much time because I want to make sure we get to her, but just real quick, 1 million Black Voters Rising is the initiative that we'll be launching. You will be hearing more about it. We will be sending you more information, and it's meant to be a real simple way to just reach out to our friends, our family, our colleagues, and say, hey, let's get registered and let's be part of being 1 million Black voters stronger by 2028. And we're starting this year.
Well, thank you for that, Karen, and we're going to allow you to go. We know Karen is not affiliated with MPAC directly. She's MPAC adjacent. She's the one that is helping to bring information as we all come together around getting our votes out there. So we appreciate you for being here. Thank you so much, Karen, for joining us and being a part of the conversation as I get ready to introduce my dear sister, New York colleague, Jamaican cousin, Representative Yvette D. Clarke from the Republic of Brooklyn. Thank you so much for joining our D9 Town Hall, and she is a proud member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. Can you hear us?
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I can. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Can you all hear me?
We can hear you loud
Wonderful.
and clear. Thank you for being also the leader of our Congressional Black Caucus, as your colleagues have shared about the issues that are important to our community. What's the message that you want the constituency to know? What should you be pressuring your elected representatives to advocate for on your behalf? As nonpartisan organizations, we're not here to tell you who to vote for. We're here to uplift the facts from credible references. So over to you, Congresswoman.
Well, first of all, let me thank you for hosting us this afternoon. I wanted to say to those who are viewing that there are some key pieces of legislation, one in particular that is sitting on my mind, called the SAVE Act. The Trump administration and Donald Trump himself is really pressuring the Senate to pass this legislation. It has been caught up in the whole issue that we have had with to making sure that we get reforms to the TSA, and there's immense pressure on senators to pass this legislation. This legislation is voter suppression on steroids, and we cannot allow our state senators, our U.S. senators, not to feel maximum pressure from the voters. At the end of the day, we have to make sure that we use our power, and the power is in our vote, to make sure that those who represent us in Washington, D.C. understand that we understand that what they are proposing in this moment is nothing short of trying to pick winners and losers in the upcoming election by basically circumventing the state's rules around how we cast our ballots state by state. They want to nationalize voting in this country. They want to pick who would be eligible to vote by putting such onerous regulations in place for individuals to prove that they are registered to vote. And the implications of this SAVE Act are tremendous, not only for this election cycle coming up, which is the most crucial one for us, but going forward. So if the SAVE Act were to pass, at the end of the day, it would marginalize women who have changed their names. It would marginalize our younger voters who may have difficulty in getting all of the documentation in time for the upcoming elections. And the crazy thing about this legislation is that they're trying to make it retroactive. So that means a massive purging of the voter rolls state by state. And that is the only way that Donald Trump, the Trump administration, and those who seek to suppress our votes can win in the upcoming election. So the main thing that I want to put on everyone's radar is the pressure to pass the SAVE Act in the United States Senate. The House of Representatives, unfortunately, it's a foregone conclusion because of the majority there. But in the Senate, we can apply the pressure that's needed to stop this from going forward. And they're very hesitant. They're very hesitant at getting this done. And that's why, unfortunately, President Trump is applying all of these pressures on them in order to get this measure to his desk for his signature.
Well, that's what we're watching and seeing, and just helping everyone to understand what does it really mean to put pressure on. Why are things being held up? Representative Maxwell Frost has just joined us, proud member of Phi Beta Sigma. So we have them coming in and coming out. He is in a ball cap because he is on the ground talking to constituents, leaning in for them to be able to get support as he is continuing the work and wanting to be representative. So I thank you, Congresswoman Clark. You came on while you are out of the country because of your commitment to the Congressional Black Caucus, because of your commitment to educating our constituents about what's really at stake. It was brought up earlier, Representative Sewell touched on it, Representative Kelly and Karen, that we have eligible voters in our community who are not registered to vote. And that is unacceptable. We need everyone at the table. So, Congressman Frost, we're going to send it over to you for a moment. And Representative Clark, we know that if you have to go, we do understand, as we're going to keep this conversation going.
Yeah, of course. Well, thank you so much.
Very well. Well, thank you so much.
Absolutely. We love you.
Yes, much love to our Madam Chair, Chair Yvette Clark, and great to be a Representative Robin Kelly as well. And thank you, Madam President. And it's so good to be here with everybody today. Yeah, we are in the middle of petitioning season in the state of Florida to get myself back on the ballot. A lot of work being done. But look, I'm going to be brief. I just want to talk about two main things that are top of mind for me right now. The first one has to do with what the chair was just talking about, which is the SAVE Act. This is a bill that they are putting forward because they know that the more people that vote, the more they lose. And you have a lot of people come up to me and say, Maxwell, my vote doesn't matter. Well, number one, and you hear this said all the time, and it's so true, if your vote didn't matter, they wouldn't be trying to take it away. But number two, we just had a few races here in the state of Florida that I think really prove how important each individual vote is. In fact, in Boca Raton, we had a man run for mayor. We flipped that seat from Republican to Democrat, but the most important part of this is he won initially by 1 vote. And then after the recount, he ended up winning by 5 votes. Every vote matters. In 2018, Andrew Gillum would have been the governor of Florida. Imagine how different how different Florida would be. He lost by about 7 votes per precinct. That's a pack of doors right there, right? And so I say this so people understand how important and sacred the right to vote is. And we don't just fight for it because it's the right thing to do and it's our rights, of course, but we also fight for it because it is a part of the strategy to elect people who actually give a damn about our communities and are going to fight for us. And
Absolutely.
the president understands there is an existential threat to this far right and white supremacist movement that a lot of us assumed were on the fringes of government, but now is at the top of power and is not at the fringe anymore, but it is in the mainstream. The existential threat to that movement are Black people going to the polls and conscious people going to the polls and saying, no, we will not have these type of people representing us, no matter what party they're a part of. And so the SAVE Act, people ask me, Max, do you think they're going to cheat? Do you think they're going to cheat? It's not about what they're going to do. Look at what they're doing. The mass gerrymandering war that they already started, and then now looking at the fact that they want to pass a bill, the SAVE Act, to rip away the right to vote for many people across the entire country, particularly in the South, where they want to do the greatest damage, and obviously where the most Black people in this country live. And so it is important that, of course, we fight back against it. Now, let me give you the good news, because it's scary, but I got good news for you. Number one,
good news, please.
Here's the good news. We've defeated this bill before. A lot of people are just learning about it for the first time. And correct me, Madam Chair or Representative Kelly, if I'm wrong, but I believe we have already voted on this bill last year and the year before. Twice they tried to get it through the process, and twice it failed. It passed the House, but it always stopped at the Senate. And the hope is that we can do it a third time once again. And it's important that people keep that pressure on. But I say this to say we've defeated this bill before, which means we can do it again. And my hope is that, we don't agonize, organize, because in this moment, the points where authoritarians get their most power is when the opposition says, well, there's nothing we can do. I got to tell you, I was on TikTok a few months ago and I saw this video, had like 1 million likes. And it was somebody saying, I'm a Democrat, I'm on the left, this and that. Don't vote. Your vote won't matter. They're going to try to cheat anyway. And I said, why the hell would you say that? I'll tell you, if I'm running against someone, I'd love it if the opposition is telling their own people not to go vote. We know they're going to try stuff. We're going to fight back against it, but everyone has to go out and vote all the way up and down that ballot for the people that you believe are going to represent you. That's the first thing. Second thing, real quick, that I think is really important too, is this shutdown that we're in. And all we have to do is look no further than 2 days ago. The United States Senate unanimously passed legislation that said, you know what, we're in this shutdown. Let's fund the stuff we agree on and leave open the question of the things we're still negotiating on. What is that called? That's called compromise, right? I'm not a big fan of the Senate, but this is the one time they did something a little right, okay? They send us the bill, and we're ready to vote on it. We're all ready to vote yes, so we can fund TSA, Coast Guard, FEMA. And we still negotiate on ICE because we don't believe ICE should be on the streets, killing Americans on the streets and terrorizing our communities. And so what we're saying is we're not going to give them $8 to $9 billion additional dollars to continue to do that. Okay. Then the Republicans in the House of Representatives said, no, my way or the highway. You got to fund ICE. You got to fund everything we want to fund, or else we're going to keep the government shut down. And that's exactly what they did. They put a bill on the House floor that they knew would fail. That was not the one that the Senate passed. And then here's the worst part. They said, okay, we didn't do our job. Everyone leave for 2 weeks. And now you got members of Congress all across the country and in different places when we should be in D.C. focusing on opening up the government and continuing these negotiations. But Speaker Mike Johnson is the only person who runs the schedule. So when people see online photos of members of Congress in different places, this and that, okay, but there's one person who has the power to call us all back to work, Speaker Mike Johnson. And the one reason he didn't put the Senate bill on the floor so we could fund the parts of the government we agree on funding is because he doesn't want to lose his job. Because a few years ago, the same thing happened to a man named Kevin McCarthy. Do you remember his name? Everyone remember his name? Kevin McCarthy. So those are just the two things top of mind for me. That I think it's important that people keep in mind, because you're gonna hear a lot of this online, all over the place. Just look at the facts and what's right in front of us. And we've got a lot of work to do. So God bless you all. I appreciate you for having me on today.
Absolutely, Congressman Frost. We appreciate you doing it on the road and being here, but we're going to keep the conversation going. We have Vince Evans here, who represents our Congressional Black Caucus Foundation as the executive director. And we are thrilled that he has joined in as well. Just to reiterate, as we're getting ready to bring on some of our civil rights organization, the leaders, people who are on the ground, who have been here for years, who have seen some things. Some of this we've never seen, but they've seen some things, and we've gotten through with proper information, with making sure that everybody is informed. So Representative Kelly, we thank you for being here. We're going to give you a chance to get back to your agenda. Congresswoman Clark, thank you for showing up, for being the leader you are for CBC. We love you and appreciate you. Vince, I'm going to give you some words as I bring up Dr. Ajua Asamoah, who is also going to help us transition this conversation around how we look at not just what's happening here, but attach it to the D9 influence globally and what's happening on content. So over to you, Vincent, before we get ready to bring in our next set of guests.
Well, Dr. Grant, thank you for having me. I'm so glad I got to see the chairwoman of the CBC, who I get the pleasure of working with every day. She is doing an incredible job. Congresswoman Kelly, obviously, Mr. Frost and others that will be on. And I am preceding my sister from another, so I'm going to be quick. Y'all have just heard it. These are perilous times right now. The Congressional Black Caucus is fighting hard in Washington, D.C., and ready to get back to Washington, D.C. right now, as what Mr. Frost just said, the Speaker could call the House back right now today, as well as the Senate, and get back to funding. But I will just say this very quickly. There is no probably issue more important right now, and there are a lot of important issues, than that of the sacred right to vote. The franchise in America is under attack. And remember, brothers and sisters, that our right to vote wasn't gained because of age. It is soaked in the blood of martyrs, soaked in the blood of Medgar Evers, soaked in the blood of Goodman, Cheney, and Schwerner, soaked in the blood of 4 little girls in Birmingham, Alabama. And in this moment, we must be clear, be it the SAVE Act, the case that is before the Supreme Court of the United States of America right now, our very right to vote, the franchise, which we have fought so long and so hard for, is under siege, and we must do everything we can. And that is why the CBC, the Voting Rights Act, and the right to vote has always been our North Star. And this organization knows that, these organizations rather know that well. So I'm gonna leave you with one homework assignment, because Dr. Grant, as you know, we often get in rooms and people in the call, and then the next question is, now what? And now what do I do? If I had one ask today from the leaders across the country on this call, it would be this: do everything you can to go and audit your voting precincts in your community right now. Several Tuesdays ago in Dallas, we saw what happened when our dear sister, a leader in the CBC, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, was trying to get elected. On the day of the election, all of a sudden, there were problems. Leaders around the country, you can do something. This isn't about us just talking to you. You need to audit your local precincts, make certain that they have everything they are going to need. You need to let us know if they do not. I'll drop my information, and Dr. Grant has it, because we want to know where there are problems across the country. Audit your local precincts so that you can let us know, so that we can get ready in the information. So I'm done, Dr. Grant. Thank you so much for having me, my sister. And thank you for your leadership, Dr. Grant. You are a national treasure, and the Congressional Black Caucus finds ourselves often not only in conversation with you, but more importantly, we are often in work with you. You were just here in DC with us. I thank you and your colleagues in the NPHC. Thank you so much.
Thank you for those kind words, my brother. Love you dearly, and thank you for everything that you're doing to keep us informed and keep the CBC Foundation intact and mobilize, because you said that was a whole word. Can we pass the offering plate? We need the collection plate for the D9 Situation Room.
I love you, my sister.
Thank you. So as we get ready to bring in our civil rights organizations and other leaders that are coming, I thought it was important for us to also recognize the global opportunities. As D9, we serve multiple countries. We have interests on the continent, and no one better than to bring my dear sister, Dr. Ajua B. Asamoah, to the stage to talk about that as I start bringing up some of our other leaders who are here to represent the work that we do in and outside of the D9. So go ahead, my sister, and tell everybody just a little encouragement as you see some of the other leaders popping on stage to be able to share in this moment.
Well, Dr. Grant, I must too thank you for your leadership and your sisterhood. We are constantly talking and strategizing and working behind the scenes when folks don't see it. So I just want to first begin by just thanking you again for your leadership. It is truly servant leadership. And family, greetings. Again, I am Dr. Ajua B. Asamoah, known as Ajua, and it is a pleasure, a genuine pleasure to be in community with you all. Just last week, as a proud Ghanaian, I returned to the city and campus where I was made and welcomed His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, John Dramani Mahama, after he tabled a historic resolution declaring the African Holocaust, known generally to most as the enslavement of Africans across the Atlantic Ocean. He tabled a resolution that declared the African Holocaust the gravest crime against humanity, serving as the continent's champion for reparations. Those of us in what is left of the US know too well the unthinkable dehumanizing acts of enslavement and its current impact. Those of us there on the continent know the unconscionable act and impact of colonization. But it is worth noting that the oppressor is the same, and our work must be rooted in unity. It's the same spirit that, as a dual citizen by birth, committed to our collective progress, that I remind you all that you don't have to leave or stay. And dual citizenship is an option for those of you who are interested in exploring it. Now, for those of you who don't, you can still support the work of our organizations. I am aware of 8 chapters doing work on the continent, specifically in Ghana. And again, we have other chapters in other parts of the continent. But our work and our support doesn't have to end there. The continent is open for business as well. There are investments and real money to be made, and in keeping with our Kwanzaa principle of cooperative economics. I traveled with my brother and colleague in this global freedom fighting work, Attorney Ben Crump, in December to Ghana to attend the Diaspora Summit. And I can assure you that it feels like home upon landing. Now, while we collectively decry this court's undermining of educational opportunities for the non-privileged, and sadly but likely the Voting Rights Act, we as the NPHC will always center the fact that the vast majority of our people in this country are not part of this privileged class. So while the Supreme Court at times seems hell-bent on turning back the clock on progress, letting us know that race still matters in the United States and that whiteness still has standing and indefensible protections in American law, I will note, for our organizations, our collective acts of self-determination are happening in Mother Africa. My list is long, but my time is short, so I will end with this. The forever honorable Kwame Nkrumah told us that I am not African because I was born in Africa, but because Africa was born in me. I am happy to share with my Panhell family all the opportunities offline, and I ask you all to ping me since I don't have time to go into more specifics today. So thank you again, Dr. Grant, and I will continue listening now that my time is done.
Well, thank you, my sister, for truly being a partner in the work. personal friend and just a proud member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority
I
Incorporated.
am indeed.
We appreciate you, and we're going to get right in it because everybody on the next panel, they got to go in 2.2 minutes, but we want to make sure that they get their opportunity to share with our constituents who are here. These are the leaders of our national civil rights organizations and some of our media partners who are doing the work. So we're combining this because we're going to keep this train running. And I'm going to let Joy Ann Reed, who has to get ready to go on air, proud member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, and Angela Rye, who are here doing the work. Now, once again, we have people who are adjacent. Angela's not affiliated, but she's adjacent to the work and doing the work. So that's why they're here. We're going to give them a few minutes to talk about why independent media needs to be supported. We can no longer trust that mainstream media is giving us all the information that we need. So they were invited intentionally. And we have Jonathan Rabb, who is here from Watch the Yard. So you want to know who the face is behind Watch the Yard. He is here live on the D9 Situation Room and proud member of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. So with that being said, Joy, over to you. Just some general tips and comments about consuming media. We're going to kick it to Angela, give John a few words, and then we're right into our civil rights organization leaders.
Sounds good. Thank you so much, Dr. Grant, for inviting us. Great to be here with this esteemed, incredible panel. Hello to everybody who's on the panel, all of our friends here, and everybody who is tuning in. I saw some readers jumping in there, so hey, y'all, appreciate you so much. So I'll very quickly say, the challenge is that the corporate media, if it was that they were just journalistic organizations whose goal was to do journalism, I think we'd be okay. But the incentive structure has changed, and these journalistic entities now are housed within corporations who are doing other business with the federal government. And so those larger industries are not going to let a little bit of journalism and truth get in the way of their business. So you're not seeing incentives to just do journalism. You're seeing incentives to capitulate, to bend the knee to the administration, to not make him upset. And when you see the FCC, the leader of the FCC, who wrote the part of Project 2025 that was about capturing the media, brag that he and Donald Trump were personally responsible for getting me fired, for getting Jim Acosta fired, for getting Chuck Todd thrown out of Meet the Press, when they're openly admitting that they're directing the media and the media are paying settlements to the president on a defamation case they would have won and putting money into his pockets, we've got a problem. So independent media, the thing about us that is different from them is that our incentive structure is just to speak to our audience as openly and honestly as we can. We are going to try to bring the facts. We're going to bring them without fear or favor. And we are not operating with a corporate structure on top of us that needs to kowtow to the administration. So I definitely think supporting independent media, because you can still get good journalism at some of these mainstream outlets. There are good journalists still working there, including a lot of journalists who look like us on this call, and they are in the struggle. But I think you need to balance your media diet with independent media so that you can at least get the truth that is unfettered by the needs of a corporation to capitulate to Trump.
Well, thank you, Joy, for that. And we appreciate what you represent and what you do. We're going to let you go right into studio and production. We appreciate you being here. And we just want to lift up that we celebrate you. Can you put some love in the chat for Joy? If you like the Joy Ann Reed Show, if you are following our sister, this is what D9 Stronger Together looks like. We support one another. We lift up credible voices that are giving us the information that we need. So I love you, sis. Thank you.
Love you.
I am
Thank you,
leaning on
sis.
all the shields today to make sure that everybody can be here.
Amen. Amen. Love you, D9 sisters and brothers. Appreciate it. And all the affiliated and adjacent. Love you all. Thank you so much.
Yes. All right, my darling. All right, Angela, over to you, my sister. You are around us all in the struggle, doing the work, giving you a few moments because we're going to go right into our civil rights organizations and partners in the work. So after Angela, Jonathan, get ready. We're keeping this D9 Situation Room moving.
Thank you so much. Well, I'm thrilled to be here with people who I call my sisters, my brother. I got a new brother now. Now that I know who's running Watch the Yard, I definitely want to add you to that fold. I appreciate all that you do. I will say it's important to me that maybe we start a petition today. Maybe we change the D9 to the D10 and have Black 5 Black. I wore my black shirt just for that moment, a little moment of brevity for y'all. But I am so grateful for all you all do. And I want to say, just to not to disagree with Joy, but I think that the role of the Black press, Black journalism, and frankly, any Black people with a platform has always been slightly different. We have a duty to inform for action. We have a duty to inform for protection. Our folks have always been in danger. If you think about the role of Ida B. Wells, and certainly our role has been to inform for liberation. And so I think that if we continue down that same path, we know that everyone here, whether you have a camera on your phone and you're doing a selfie video letting us know how long the TSA lines are, or you watching what's happening in the White House press room and you're watching the press secretary lie to us saying that it is the action or inaction of Democrats that is the reason TSA workers have not received a paycheck for 40 plus days. You all have a platform and should be empowered to use that. We should be also sharing information responsibly. That should not just fall in the hands of folks who are journalists and people with larger platforms. That's upon all of us. And we know how to amplify voices of color that are meaningful, that are truthful, that have some type of conviction about them. And we know how to amplify nonsense. I would urge you not to do the latter. Finally, I would just say, for me, being raised by an activist, being raised by an educator as well, it's always been important to me that we connect the dots for people. I don't want a platform for the sake of having a platform or to gain attention. If I can utilize a platform to educate our people, to ensure that we have our marching orders for survival in this moment, that is the most important thing we can do. You all have some of the biggest bully pulpits there are and some of the most loyal following because you all are in brotherhoods and sisterhoods. Please use those to ensure that we are safe. That is the hour we're in right now. I think that I miscalculated a little bit how much time we had left when I saw all that was happening. That looks like what they put in Project 2025. But I still think we should move expeditiously. Let them know, like T.I., keep it pushing. We got things to do. And we definitely need to lean on each other. We're all we got, and we should move accordingly. So thank you all for all you're doing. Dr. Stacy, I love you. Thank you.
I love you, sis. Thank you for making time to
Love
be
all
here.
y'all.
We appreciate you and all of our adjacent family. You are sister, and we
D10.
love you. And thank you for all that you do and for being here.
NCNW, we're waiting on you, Angela Rise. The same thing. Hello.
Whatever you need, sis. I'm
Look,
here.
she recruiting already. I tell you, that's my sister. We always out here making it work. Angela, talk to you soon. Love you, sis. And Jonathan, thank you for being on Nobody Knew. I think I'm revealing the brilliance behind what we are because nobody knew the face associated with the great work. But you're my brother, and I've been watching and supporting you with what you have developed for our D9 organizations to be able to share the good news of our work, the shows and all the fun things, the important things, the work. You show a well-rounded view of who we are. We're not just about the step shows and the strolls and the shimmies. We're here about the work, and that's what the D9 Situation Room is for, and that's why we're educating. So you have 2.2 minutes because I feel the
2.2.
NAACP
Okay,
and NCNW because they're ready to go and they have to get to their next events.
I'm going to go really fast. I just want to say we are doing amazing work, and there is so much of it to highlight. It is extremely important to support Black-owned independent media. On top of the corporate structures that are, or the governmental problems that we're having, there are also some, issues with advertising that are affecting independent Black journalists. So I ask you to support your Roland Martins, your Angela Rise, your just everybody across the board. It is really important to help them out right now by watching, tuning in, supporting their Patreons and all of that. I just want to say, y'all are doing great out there. The D9 is doing amazing work. We love covering it. And also, y'all have been having an amazing probate season. So it is amazing to see everybody out there just enjoying. I support this wholeheartedly all of the things that you're doing right now. Dr. Grant, it's always great seeing you.
Always, my brother. Thank you for being here and letting me be the one on the D9 Situation Room to reveal brilliance behind Watch the Yard. Thank you, my brother, and we'll talk soon.
All right.
All right, so everybody listening in, you see the faces on the screen. We have brought to you, and there's one more coming, of our civil rights organizations. Unfortunately, Mark Mariel had a conflict today, so he couldn't be here in person, and he had one of his deputies, and then an emergency came up. And all the leaders here, you know about emergencies. So we want you to know that the National Urban League, as well as National Action Network, will be logging back in. They were here earlier. We're going to get Reverend Sharpton back, but we do have Derek Johnson from the NAACP, the president and CEO. We have Siobhan Arline Bradley from NCNW. We have Mignon Moore and Bishop Leah Daughtry from Power Rising. And from Win with Black Women, we have Chantel representing our dear sister Joteka, who needs to take a minute, and she is here to just step in the gap and talk about the work. So I'm going to go with you first, President Derek Johnson, because I don't want to get in trouble, because I can feel the heat, because you have other commitments today, and I want you to still love me after the D9 Situation Room, and then we're going to go to the Reverend Siobhan Arline Bradley of NCNW.
Thank you, Stacy, and thank you for pulling together the town hall meeting. So at the risk of repeating what's already been said, I'm going to start with November, because I think everything we do from this point on should be focused on November, whether it's the SAVE Act, whether it's any piece of legislation what's going on with TSA, the races in the White House, it all comes to a head in November. And the elections in November is not one on election day, is one before election day. It's all the things we do to prepare for election day. And I am grateful with all of the D9. We've signed an MOU. In that MOU, you have complete access to our van election database system. We must eat this elephant one bite at a time. And if all of our chapters across the country identify those infrequent voters and turn them out, that's how we win. This is a game of inches, not miles. The power to make the impact we need is within the Black community and the institutions that we all represent. So at the end of the day, if we are driving towards an outcome that's fueled by the data and driven by the feet on the ground, we win. No matter what chapter you are in, be it rural, suburban, or urban, there are people who live in our households, in our precincts next to us, who are infrequent voters. These are individuals who are already registered to vote. They need that extra push, that extra call, the extra knock on the door, or that peer pressure to get them to the polls. Most of us we're on here because we're paying attention day in and day out about what's taking place with Congress, with our state legislative bodies, how the current prices of gas and food and other things are impacting us as a result of the election. So we don't have to convince each other to turn out to vote. It's the individuals who live in our communities, who work every day, who are not paying attention. They care, but they're providing for families. They're working blue-collar jobs. They could be teachers. You'll be surprised how many individuals who you think are voting are not voting. And the beautiful thing about the VAN database system, you have access to everybody in your area who are infrequent voters. And we just need you between now and election day in November to talk to them. If we wait 60 days out, 30 days out, in many cases, it's too late. They can't hear us. But if we start now, when they begin to talk about the price of gas, the price of bread, the price of things, and say, you know what? This is a result of the election 2 years ago. The only way we stop this free fall and turn things around, if you get out to vote. So let's stick together, fight together, plan together, and vote together so we can win in November together.
I absolutely love it. And I was waiting for two other folks to come on. I didn't forget my sister Melanie Campbell from the National Coalition of Black Civic Participation. I wanted to introduce in tandem, we have Latasha Brown, who's coming from Black Votes Matter, but she's not here yet. But Mel, we're going to come to you. You know, we're not going to leave you out, my sister, but Reverend Siobhan Arline Bradley, I know you too have to jump. And President Johnson, thank you for being here. And if you do need to move to your next commitment, I thank you for your patience and I thank you for your presence.
Thank you so much. Hey there, Madam Grant. Hey, everybody. It's so good to see all the folks I love on the call. The chat has been blowing up, and I will tell you, NCNW is in the house. I saw all the purple hearts. I see y'all, and we love you. Some of my board members are on this call with me. We're playing a lot of dual roles right now. I'm on the board of Power Rising, so I'm gonna let them do the Power Rising shout out. But I'm gonna be in Chicago. I don't know where you're gonna be. I'm gonna be in Chicago for Power Rising. So get ready for that announcement. But I do want to share two things with you. One, you all know I'm sitting here in the historic Black-owned building on Pennsylvania Avenue in the NCNW headquarters. We are here activating something called Power Up. Power Up is our activation work that we're doing in partnership with the Black Women's Leadership Collective. Hear me, to register 1 million new Black voters in this year's election. Why are we committing to that? We believe in voter mobilization, voter outreach, and voter registration. We are seeing now a need, particularly for D9 chapters, to be a part of what we call this Power Up Ready to Vote cycle. What are we asking you to do? Very, very clearly. First, not only finding out about your registration, but also activating inside of your service area. Is your service area prepared to get out the vote? The second thing is NCNW is activating. It's time for Purple Days in the districts. Now, Madam Grant, this is free to every Divine Nine member because, as you all know, all the sororities are members and council affiliates of NCNW. We are going to, April 6th through 9th, activate a free training segment all week long to prepare to bring people back to their home districts. I put the link in the private chat, so if somebody can put that in the real chat, that would help us. You can register. Again, it's open and it is free to get your training, get your education, so that when you go back, not on the Hill, but you're going to bring the Hill to your house. Getting into your district leaders, U.S. senators, U.S. House members, and say, hey, that SAVE Act is not what we're looking for. Looking for our congressional leaders to stand in the gap with us. And then finally, I've got to say the thing, right? We've got to get our constituency plan back together and our commitment plans. Who are we committing to? Who are we committing to as organizations? If your organization has a foundation, they need your support. The civil rights organizations you heard here, NAACP, NCNW, we need your support. Join us in the Power of 20. We're working on a new campaign to get 25,000 people to give $20 a month to organizations like NCNW. $20 a month by 25,000 people for any organization can change its operation. We're saying that the Black dollar should be committed to the Black cause. I'm gonna say it again. The Black dollar should be committed to the Black cause. And we are here activating. Last thing, don't worry about the denouncements, friends. I gotta say what I need to say for the people in the back. This denouncement plan is a part of a concerted effort to literally downgrade and downplay the power of the Divine Nine. But you can't be divine without having the divine. I want you to hear me. We are literally called by God to activate inside of our organizations to do some service together. I want you to follow some of the money of the people that are denouncing. And I got to shout out Bishop Leah. She put out a post a couple weeks back that said that the Black church and the Divine Nine are the two institutions that are run by us, financed by us, and led by us. And if you look at some of the denouncers, there's a deep connection to MAGA Madness, to a Turning Point. We've seen now some of the track record. Don't be fooled by the letters. Understand, my brothers and sisters, you are a part of a ministry that is activating for our people. So I want to encourage you, support us, support this work and this road to November 2026. And remember, the Divine Nine is a threat because we have knowledge and we have power. And when you have knowledge and power, the folks don't know what to do with us. And that's why we know we are this close to getting it done. So I love you all. I'm supposed to be there at 2:30, but I love you.
Okay.
I love you. I love you. And I'll see y'all in Chicago.
Love you. See you in Chicago, my sister. And thank you so much for being here as well. We know she has the business to handle, just like NAACP. And now we're bringing it into Power Rising, getting ready to rise in Chicago. Our two conveners are here, Bishop Leah Daughtry and the one and only marvelous Mignon Moore. Welcome to the D9 Situation Room. And of course, if I didn't have to say it, Derek Johnson is a proud member of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, and Reverend Siobhan Arline Bradley is a proud member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. And these two ladies are proud members of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. Welcome to the D9 Situation Room.
Yes, and I'm going to defer to Bishop because she is my bishop and she's all of our bishops. So go ahead, Bishop, even though she said that wasn't her name when she was born, but we still call her Bishop.
That is not the name my mama gave me.
Bishop, you're on mute.
Okay, no, you're good. Go ahead, Bishop.
Did we lose her?
Did we lose Bishop? We're gonna bring her back.
Well, while we're trying to get the bishop back, I want to pick up on where Siobhan left off. We are going to be convening in Chicago, and that's April 16th through the 19th at the Conrad Hilton Hotel. So if you haven't registered, please register at powerrising.org. But I kind of want to leave you with a couple of messages, and I am delighted and honored to be on this call. And thank you, Dr. Stacy. We love her so much. I'm sure you've heard that over and over and over again. And it is not hyperbole. She has brought gravitas and status to a group of women leaders and men, quite frankly. But we love you and thank you so much for your leadership. But one of the things I want to just say to the Divine Nine, thank you. We honor you. Thank you for all that you're doing. But I want to remind us that the D9 has a couple of things that we need to center on. They have the power of the bully pulpit because all of them are responsible leaders and they are leading people. They have the power of the law. Many of them are lawyers. They have the power of politics. Many are either judges, some are elected officials, as you saw all of the Deltas, but me and Leah are going to represent and hold down the AKAs today, and Zetas, we're all here. But they have all of these things. And what we're looking at right now in this country is the conversion of politics, business, and culture. And D9 is at the center and at the apex of all of that. So what I encourage us to continue to do is, one, follow their leadership. Two, remind all of us that voting is not an event. I say it all the time. It is a lifestyle. And the more we say that to our younger constituents, the more they will hear us. It is not an event. It is a lifestyle. We cannot just show up because it's the sexy thing to do. So please remind all the young people that are a part of the D9 groups that we have to come out. We have to encourage them to vote. We also have to continue to track all these EOs that are coming out of the White House. These executive orders impact all that we do in our lives, and the D9 can help us continue to follow and track that. And you can also show up and convene town halls and convene meetings, some of which a lot of folks can't do at the ready, and you all can continue to do that, and we will continue to listen. And then I say, speak up and call your representatives. Make sure we're on the phone, calling them, making sure that they hear our voices and know where we're coming from. And so I will leave it with that. And the bishop has, the one that was not named the bishop when she was born, has come back to the call. So I will leave it with her to give us our spiritual uplift and our political words.
Thank you so much, Mignon.
Thank you. And you see, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. Technology is great when it works. Thank you. You see why Mignon is my BFF and my co-convener. She didn't need me for any of that. She has already delivered the message. And so I just would want to echo her and what my sister Siobhan said earlier. We got to get past all the announcing, denouncing, and flouncing and focus on what is the power that we have within us and with all of our organizations. And so as we've referenced, Power Rising is coming April 16th to the 19th in Chicago. And we're looking forward to gathering with our sisters to talk about the path forward, talk about the issues that are key to us as Black women and how we move together in the power that God has given us to run this race that we have been given. There's a lot made of what happened before and who didn't do what. But you know what? The thing about a relay race is you only have to run your leg. You don't have to worry about the leg before you or the leg that's coming. Your responsibility is to take the baton that you've been given and run with that for your leg. So I want to encourage all of us, focus on what our leg is. For this time, we were made for this time, for this purpose. We're not by accident and not by incident. We're here on purpose for this leg of the race. So let's get prepared to run. If there's one thing I would ask you to do, maybe two, we'll see, is check your own voter registration. Be sure with all the shenanigans that are going on right now, make sure you are straight. Go on vote.org and check your registration, not just once, not just twice. It's free to check to make sure that your situation is straight and that they haven't changed your polling place, that you haven't gotten purged through all of the foolishness that's happening. Go on vote.org regularly and make sure that you are straight. Encourage your family members to do that. And what you will hear in the next couple of weeks is the Black Women's Leadership Collective, which is all of our national Black women's organizations, from the Zetas to the AKAs to Melanie and the NCNW and Black Women's Roundtable. We've come together and we have committed ourselves to registering 1 million new Black voters. We're doing this together as women, as sisters. All of you are invited to join us. We'll be launching a website very soon where you can register yourself, register your family members, your friends, create your own circle of 10, make the commitment that you are going to be a part of the solution. We can complain about it or we can do something about it. We can complain about what's happening, and there's a lot to complain about. Let's be clear. There's a whole lot going wrong. However, we can either sit and be armchair activists and keyboard warriors, or we can get up and do something about it so that we don't sit on the seat of do nothing and seat of complaining and yelling at the TV and throwing our shoe at that man on the TV. We can do something about it.
Absolutely.
The power is in our hand. The baton is in our hand. Don't drop it.
All right. The armchair activist almost took me out, but thank you, Bishop Leah Daughtry and Mignon Moore, for Power Rising, for your leadership. It is a joy and a blessing to not only work with you, but to call you my true sisters. And I thank God for the work that you do and the example that you give to our communities. And we're going to take it right on in to Melanie Campbell. And I told you I was trying to introduce Melanie and Latasha together, and now she's here. So we're going to go to Melanie Campbell from National Coalition of Black Civic Participation, and then over to Latasha Brown, who's going to share a few words from Black Voters Matter. But we're going to allow Bishop and Mignon to go back to their regularly scheduled program as we keep the D9 Situation Room
going. Keep it warm.
Absolutely, absolutely. So
hello.
Welcome, Mel.
Hello, Dr. Stacy and my sister Latasha, and everyone, women, Black women, Chantel. I tell you, I was, been one of those crazy kind of days, but I needed to just come here and just see y'all faces, right? Because it's like, okay, we all right. We're gonna be all right. And so National Coalition, what's exciting for us as an organization and me being here as long as I have is we're about to celebrate our 50th anniversary on May the 5th as an organization. Divine Nine members have been a member of the organization most of them from the beginning. So we want to celebrate you all in that process. And of course, my sister Latasha Brown is a board member of the National Coalition, and as well as my sister friend in the fight. And that's what time it is. I've listened and all the things that we have to do. And the thread I've heard just in this short period of time is reality. It is about coalition. It is about coming together. It is about understanding that this is the moment that is more different than anything I've ever seen. But God did not leave us wanting. He just did not. And so we have to understand that coming together in unity. Our theme for this year is United We Win. Right? And really being able to focus in on what that means, sharing our resources, sharing our strategies, because this is not one for any of us to sit and say, I'm over here and you over there. We're all in this situation together. And so being able to see the Divine Nine and say adjacent and those and the adjacents, because we all sisters and brothers, whatever color, whatever, so never, right? But we also know that our institutions are also our strength. So when I heard them talking about how they're coming for the Divine Nine and coming with all kinds. Siobhan, I think it was talking about it earlier. It's like they're going to come for us because they know that we not only are we leaders of institutions, but we control the resources inside of our institutions, big, small, everything in between. And for Black people, understanding that that's how we've always gotten over from the time they brought us over here on slave ships to the time that we're here now. Black institutions is something that they cannot control, whether it be the faith community, Divine Nine, our civil rights organizations, and others. We have to come together, and that's what I'm focusing on. We pulling together our unity campaign, sharing information, sharing resources, sharing research, and then for those who are watching, Leah talked about it. Don't wait. This is the time. Get in your own household. I was in a meeting where I won't say where I was because then I get myself in trouble if I say where I was. But I was in a meeting and I asked folks, anybody in your household saying they're not gonna vote? Over half of that room raised his hand. So the first thing to do for all those who are watching, check to see who's in the house feeling like they don't want to be bothered with this, who kind of checked out of it. And then the last thing I want to say is for young people who are in this fight. This is your generational fight. We all have had said every generation, this generation, this is the fight. And for those of us who've been around for a while, our goal is to help make sure that you know that we got your back as well as your front and your side, because that's what time it is. We'll come together intergenerationally in this fight, and we're going to win it. That's why I always say they always coming for us because they know. And so we ain't going to tell everything on the Zoom that we got to get done, right? And that's right. And all his minions, God's watching too. And so I know it's like, keeping on thinking you that powerful, right? And then you'll find out who is really powerful. So we just have to keep that in mind, keep our faith together, go ahead and win.
Absolutely. Thank you, Melanie Campbell. It was a joy being with you, celebrating you as you hear my voice. The devil is a lie. We're going to finish this D9 Situation Room. But thank you so much for being here, my sister. I know you have to run to your next commitment, but we're going to turn it over to my dear sister.
My last two sisters, and then I assume I'm sitting.
Okay. All right. I'm not mad at it. We have Latasha Brown, Black Voters Matter, my other sister. No, she's not affiliated. She's adjacent to the work. What do you want to tell our listeners in 2.2 minutes?
Well, let me just say, Melanie Campbell, know I love you greatly. Matter of fact, Melanie, is part of her fault as a young organizer. I joined what was called Black Youth Vote at the time. I was in my early 20s and got really engaged and trained and on the national scene. So I always give Melanie credit for creating that framework. And we have to do that for young folks. And so I'll just say, in this moment, we got to know what time it is. Right. And there's all of these arguments around, whether voting. I am the first one to tell you that with my work through Black Voters Matter, and I've done political work my entire 30 years, my entire adult life, that there are limitations of voting. There is no doubt about that. Voting ain't going to get you everything you want. Voting ain't going to get us everything we need. But also voting is an intervention because things are going to move with or without you. What voting gives you an opportunity to do is to weigh in on it. I've been talking a lot lately about everything is in motion, that even right now, as we're sitting in this space right now, I used to think, and this, I've been studying the stars, and I'm going to show you why I think this is relevant, Dr. Stacy. I've been studying how the planets move and how the universe moves. And essentially, I thought that the Earth, while I knew it circled around the sun within our galaxy, that I thought it was at a fixed place in the universe and that we were just centered around. But it's not. It's actually moving. And it's moving towards something they don't know what it is. Scientists don't know what it is. They call it the Great Attractor. And so an hour from now, we will be 1 million miles further from where we were in this moment. I need y'all to hear me. And the reason why I'm saying that is that even when you ain't moving, you moving. There's no such thing as you ain't moving. The question is, are you going to go in the direction that you desire to go, right? Or you're just going to go for the ride? Because whether you do something or not, things are moving. Whether you vote or not, there's some policies that are being made right now that are going to impact you. And so I'm saying that we have to make the argument with our sisters and brothers, not just centered on this idea of
people voted, died for you, and that's important. But at the end of the day, decision is going to be made, and we have to participate in that process of nothing else but to reduce the harm that's happening in our community. Also, to send a consequence. There has to be consequences. When people are coming for us, we can't silently sit back. We've got to send a message. If nothing else, this has to be a protest vote. The third thing that I want to say is that if you all look historically, if you look at Hitler and some of the folks who actually concentrated, fascists that were concentrating power, that they actually had an election. Hitler actually had an election, y'all. And there's a reason why. That part of what they do is they use the elections as a litmus test for their power. That if they don't do well in that particular election, then what happens is it slows down the process of them grabbing power. If they do well, they take that as a mandate that they're supposed to actually be, and they attempt to steal it. I can't even put I'm being as nonpartisan as I can. There are folks that are going to steal this election. It is just no way to put it. That's just the truth. And so in order to actually prevent and create an intervention of that, we have to have an overwhelming show out of people coming to the polls to vote. We need overwhelming numbers. This ain't the same election cycle. This ain't the same. I know every year we say, oh, this is the most important. No, this ain't the most important. This is it. This is it. That if we don't show up and show out in record numbers, the democracy as we know it, at least having some input and say on the policies that shape our communities, that we're going to see something very, very different. We already seeing something very different because folk ain't come out and vote like we needed to vote, but that's a whole nother story. But what I will say is in this moment, we got to shift the paradigm of what is being called of us in this moment. What are we being called for in this moment? Whatever those of us that always talk about what happened in slavery and what I would have been doing or what I would have been doing in the civil rights movement, you doing that right now. Whatever you're doing right now, that's how you would have showed up in the civil rights movement, and that's how we would have showed up during the period of enslavement. But the good news is, because I came to bring the good news, Dr. Stacy, and I'm gonna wrap. The good news is, y'all, we all have an opportunity to actually create something different. And we all have an opportunity to engage our community and our people who are paying attention, that oftentimes many folk ain't paying attention, right? People are paying attention right now, and we can't let the pain push us back. We've got what my grandmother said, what the devil meant for harm, the God will use for your good. So we need to take this moment right now to organize, to one, strengthen our political organizations and our frontline groups. All of the groups that are on here, you should be engaged in some kind of active engagement of getting people educated and registered to vote, but also being organized, because organized people is organized power. The second thing, it's important that we use, I cannot stress to you, and Melanie will tell you, that little donations go a long way. Black frontline groups where we are out here fighting and we're coming up against, you will be amazed that when we start seeing those little $25 donations or $100 donations, it says, I'm standing with you. I'm with you. I believe in you. And so it's important for us to leverage our money in this movement as well. The third thing, even related to that, y'all, we got to stop spending money with people who are not standing with us. Why are we investing in our own oppression? Those companies and organizations that are not standing with us, we've got to cut them off. The bottom line is, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to end on this. They're going to all have to come black around. And y'all heard me, I didn't say back. I said they all going to have to come black around. Those companies going to have to come black around, those organizations, and it's really important that we're building a public record of those who have not stood with us, that we're actually giving the opportunity for folks, because I believe in redemption. So we should be able to give people the space to actually redeem themselves. But in order to do that, we've got to call them to the carpet. With that, I'm going to stop right there, sister. Thank you.
I love it. Thank you, Latasha. That's why we love you. The passion, the information, and the insight, because there were some revelations for those who were picking up what you were putting down. So thank you for being here and sharing that with us today. A lot of activity in the chat. They're saying, preach, tell it, sis, because this is what we get to do as D9. We have our 501c4s and we have our PACs where we can do additional work and advocate together. And we're working on just some other solutions. And you'll hear some closing remarks from the presidents as we close out in a little bit. But thank you for being here. And Chantel, thank you for representing for Joteka. Oh, yes.
Can I say this real quick, just as a resource? both Melanie's organization and Black Voters Matter, we have training, we've got tools. People don't have to start from scratch. There are those of us who've been doing the work, and we've got resources available for you. So I'm just saying to the D9 chapters and folks that are out there, please, our organizations, Black Women Roundtable, Black Voters Matter, NAACP, many of us, we have tools that we want to partner with folks on the ground doing this work. That's it.
Absolutely.
And then I just say for folks, thanks, Latasha. We get ready for our Black You Vote training the first week of June, and that's going to be open to all of our organizations. We have to make sure that we invest in our young leadership, so that because peer-to-peer does work, intergeneration works, but peer-to-peer really works. Young people can talk to young people, and they are the strongest voting bloc out there. And this one, midterms tend to be where the numbers fall down, but it's got to be like Latasha said, it's got to trend the other direction this time. It's got to take that power and run with it as a part of making sure the future is brighter than where we are today.
Absolutely. Someone said, let her cook. Yeah, we letting her cook. We going through. This is a packed agenda. We've had everybody on here, and we're not done. We have an entertainment break that is coming up right after Chantel. She is representing Joteka Edie. All of you know Joteka. She is a part of the team. Chantel Mullen is in the background, making sure Win with Black Women, the calls that you join, and to the brothers who are still here. We had everybody represented. We have all our civic organizations, NAACP, National Urban League, NAN. So we're not just centered around the women, just this part of the program, everyone's agenda, just so aligned that it's a lot of the women representing. So Melanie Campbell is a proud member of Delta Sigma Theta. Latasha Brown is adjacent to us, and she's going to jump to her next activity. But Chantel is representing Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, and Joteka Edie is a member of Delta Sigma Theta. So once again, D9 in the building, making it happen. Chantel, welcome to the D9 Situation Room.
Thank you, Dr. Stacy, for having me. And I'm glad to fill in for our great convener of Win with Black Women, Joteka Edie. And, I've met all of you wonderful ladies on that Sunday night call. And so I would just say that Win with Black Women shows the power of convening. We just started as a group of 40 women on a Zoom call. Many of us are in other organizations. However, we still felt the need to get together and plan and organize and convene and talk and figure out how to work together. And so from that Sunday night call, it has grown into a network of over 180,000 Black women. We also had a call that had 44,000 Black women on Zoom. We broke the internet one night and we broke Zoom one night. And it just shows the power of simply sitting around, talking, having relationships, and convening together. We also have, as part of Win with Black Women, we have a virtual component. We have had over 1 billion natural, organic impressions on the internet. So you hear about Win with Black Women because we have a strong social media presence, and we are passionate about supporting Black women, making sure that we are winning, not just in politics, but in business, in education, in the community, in music, in sports, because we are all of those things. And so with that, I would just say, use your Zoom, use your power. You never know what a couple of hours just jumping on a Zoom call and talking with some of your circle of friends can do. And just also to note that Win with Black Women will be participating in the 1 million Black Voters Rising. So we will be convening our circle and helping to register 1 million new Black voters this year. So thank you.
Well, thank you, Chantel, and give our love to Joteka. And thank you for the whole team. It's a joy to join in and be a part of the Win with Black Women community so that we can all continue to empower one another. So we're going to let you all get back to your busy days. We've been going So it's 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You know, the D9 Situation Room party don't stop. But we appreciate you, and we will be stopping soon. But we have a commercial break that is coming forward. I believe Nate is still here, and I'm going to cue him up right now as he turns on camera and comes to talk to you about a particular opportunity that the D9 has to support a movie that is coming out about a very serious issue in our community. And I'm going to see if he is ready at this time to talk a little bit about it. And we might even get to see a trailer. And then we'll have a few more of our special guests coming as we start rounding out our D9 Situation Room. So if you're enjoying the conversation, your presidents will be back according to their schedule for final remarks. But thank you for tuning in. Thank you for sharing. And Nate, if you are available, you can go on and turn on your camera. I didn't want to tell them which Nate was here, but now they can see who's here. And then we might even be able to show the tail of it. Nate, let's tell the D9 community what you're working on, because this is the audience that we want to support your great work with David Aiello.
This is absolutely the audience, and I just want to honor you, Doctor. I appreciate you giving us this time. I want to honor the D9. Jotega Edie is one of my closest friends. She's actually working with us on the film, and we've had extensive conversations about just how valuable this community is to the message that we're looking to get out to our communities. So our film is called Newborn, and it is not so much about incarceration. We know the dark side of those systems, what they do to our families, but it's really about what happens once that trauma leaks back out into the main world, where Black women are waiting and Black women have to deal with that trauma and kind of the stories that go untold. And so in making this film, David and I really want to think through, how do we tell the story of how so many of our brothers and sisters who are incarcerated, who are dealing with solitary confinement, come home without the support they need, and then they have to be carried by the women who wait, specifically the Black women who wait, and tell that story in such a way that puts us in a position to stand against the medieval practice of solitary confinement. And so David and I made this film. We not only made it, but we were very clear in Hollywood that we wanted to have an impact campaign, that we weren't making this film just for entertainment, but we're making a film that we could take to our communities really to heal by giving education around what's happening day to day. So the statistic I'm gonna leave you all with is, on any given day, there are 80,000 men, women, and children in solitary confinement. They're often forgotten. In one of my interviews, a man said it was as if they're in open graves and people are walking above them, but they can't hear them. They can't hear their screams. And I did my very best to take this story and position it in a way that, while it talked about the impact of solitary confinement, it left us with a sense of hope when we get involved, when we stand in the gap. Listening to the remarkable women, I've been on the show for the last hour and change, really just thinking through the impact you have on our community, all of the things that kind of are brought to the forefront of who we need to be, who we ought to be, what we should and should not tolerate. They start here in these conversations with women like you. And often it's you who bring us into those conversations. So it's only fitting to say, you know, as we over-index in not only incarceration, but how we come home and how we're taken care of by these Black women, we want to bring you into the conversation. So once this film passes, we can kind of sit in community and say, okay, if it is true that these things are happening, which we know it is, if we're standing at this precipice when it comes to what's happening in our country and how we're seeing erasure across our positions across business, in our industry and entertainment, the stories we tell, then how can we be rebellious and disruptive in those systems? So in moving forward, we have a say about how our stories are told and taking back our narrative. So this is the first stop. This is more, to me, is more than press. You know, this is about bringing this conversation to you women and saying, we need your help. We need your help in telling this story in such a way that we can be the driving force of repair when it comes to our family.
And Nate, you have the brothers as well, right? So the Panhell and the D9 work that we do, it's all of us. So they're listening in, they're in the chat. This film is coming out next month. So we want to make sure that the D9 knew, just as we've supported and you saw our influence with the color purple, what happened when we came together and we were intentional about lifting up, once again, Black media. So this comes out on April 10th, and it's riveting. Just the trailer. I'm going to get to do the actual viewing and participate in a special viewing tomorrow night, but we wanted to bring you on as our commercial break, talking about media. Once again, we talked about independent media. Movies are important. We have 2 other members of the Divine Nine that have books that have come out. We have Blair Underwood. We have Ben Crump. So Blair Underwood from Phi Beta Sigma, Ben Crump from Omega Psi Phi. So they might be popping in with a little surprise before we end out this D9 Situation Room. But Nate, if you, outside of watching the film and supporting the film and having discussions about the content of the film, because what is unfortunate, many of us have someone that's been touched by the criminal justice system, right? So that alone is traumatic. And then solitary confinement adds another layer of trauma. What do you want the learning to be for our audience as they're telling people to go? And yes, they want to see the trailer. They want to see the trailer. Okay, we're going to try to get the trailer queued up on the back end. But what do you want them to learn from this film that you and David Aiello have created?
Well, really, it's about how the power of community, the power of love, can really restructure and reframe the narratives around who we are and how we move forward. I'm a firm believer, you all have seen my films that I put out, that none of us are free until all of us are free. And most of the time we're standing in a position of privilege, as I am right now. But I have many of my uncles and cousins have touched the justice system in ways that I could not have understood when I was younger. So in learning about these stories, one of the men we followed around, his name is Richard Rosario, and David really framed his performance around him. This is a man who went to prison, was exonerated, but spent 7 years in solitary confinement. And he spoke about that impact on how he walks around, his paranoia, how he is hypersensitive to so many different things. And when you get involved in the prison industrial complex, you go on these visits, you see so many of our brothers and sisters feel lost. They don't feel connected to us. They don't feel like we care. But we don't control media outlets, and especially now. So the question becomes, how can we build narratives that can be reconstructive, that can see these people where they feel invisible, allow them to be seen, and then stand in the gap for them? When you think about the Greek organizations, how long they've been around, how they've been the scaffolding and infrastructure of holding our communities together, I think this is a great place where we can not only start the conversations, but start the healing.
I love that. And I think that is what we salute you for with your body of work. Why don't you just run down some of the receipts for some of the people who might be new? And Nate, they don't know, that you've been doing this for a while. You're not new to this. So just give them a little reminder about what you have produced for the community.
Yeah, well, I will say some of the films and then kind of very quickly talk about the why. When I did The Great Debaters, one of the things that we did I was most proud about is we built a curriculum around increasing literacy in underserved communities. So we went to alternative schools, we built a curriculum, we walked in, they tried to get us to go in with security. We're like, we're not afraid of our people. We go in, and by the time we left, they were using debate to debate things like lyrics in hip hop, contributions of young people to culture, the divide between old and young, the N-word, all of these things. As you know, I did The Birth of a Nation about Nat Turner, which had a very strong spiritual focus. It was about a man of God that said, in the name of Jesus, I will not stand for this behavior and this treatment of my people. And so it was very important. I told his story. I guess I get a little embarrassed when it comes to kind of going down the list of things that I've done.
Don't get embarrassed. Go ahead. Show your receipts, bro.
An American Skin, which really was a reminder to our oppressor that at some point we will stand in the way that you've stood against us. We're the only people where violence isn't permitted when it comes to protecting our families and our children. And so I try to tell these stories that really shine light into the corners of who we are and how we've been treated. And again, ask the questions around what we should and should not tolerate. And when you think about newborn, we should not tolerate systems that over-index in incarcerating our people and putting them in positions of torture. And it's happening every day. When you like when I said, 80,000 men, women, children, there are children that look like us in solitary confinement right now. If you go to the New York Times, there's a 12-year-old, I think it just came out 2 months ago, who was put in solitary confinement, and now there's a lawsuit against the state. We have to stand in the gap. If we don't, no one will. And it's I hear people talking about trauma in our stories, and while I understand there's so much more to us. I mean, I named our company Mansa after Mansa Musa. I'm a firm believer in the history of the world. The amount of time we've been in slavery is a sliver, and that's if the line goes from here to Ghana. You know what I mean? Like, we've been in power since the beginning. We are the original people. The reality is where we are right now is challenging all of that legacy. And it's going to take us standing up. When I heard Mrs. Latasha talk about voting or how we should show up, media is one important part of that. I think media is one of the most important tools that we have in our possession. They say if you control the moving picture, you control the masses. So a lot of what I'm doing is not just telling stories, it's counter programming, it's reprogramming. And I will stand in this gap for as long as I live.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to go ahead and show the trailer. They're asking, like, where is the trailer? Can we see the trailer? So we're going to show the trailer, and this will be our short commercial as we are winding down this D9 Situation Room. And we're just so excited that you are here. So let's just make sure we get it all the way queued up so that you can hear for yourselves. Now, everybody tune in, because this one got me when I saw the trailer.
I love you, son. More than anything. And I'm gonna keep doing the best I can to prove it. You're my mission. You know that? Protect your mind, son. It's your greatest asset. You hear me? Protect your mind.
What they did to you, baby, it's not right. To our family.
Protect your mind.
Wow. Wow. Protect your mind.
Protect your mind. I would say, as you watch this film, pay particular attention to the symbolism. There's a lot in there. You can only say so much in a 95-minute film. But I tell you this, I try my best to touch on things that if you know, about how we are positioned in this country, how oftentimes we are mined for all the things that they want us for, and then propped up as a shell of ourselves to progress their agendas. So, it's a longer conversation, but for all the films I've done, I think there may be the most symbolism in this one. So protect your mind is a big theme for us. I will also say pay attention, and then the last part of that would be for our families. That's what this film is for. We have to take back our relationships between our fathers and sons, our husbands and wives. There's been great harm done to us, to our subconscious, to our minds, to our bodies. And I just think we have to be hyper aware of that programming so we can really collectively build community around counter programming, which is active rather than kind of passive engagement with the left or the right, definitely the right, but you get what I mean. We have to hold people accountable to what needs to change in our communities rather than assuming it's going to happen just because we're involved.
Nate Parker, you are a crowd favorite. The community is so proud to see the work that you've done. This new project with David Oyelowo is, I'm speechless. Like, I sitting and doing the screening, I'm trying to prepare myself spiritually to watch it. We wish you nothing but continued success. The D9 will be sharing this information so our community can see something that was made with care and intentionality about how not just to keep repeating the problems, how do we get to solutions? And that is what the D9 Situation Room is all about. We brought all of our guests on, all of our leaders, a large majority who have represented the D9, and those who are adjacent, who are partners in this work. Nobody's coming to save us. We're going to save ourselves.
And we have everything we need. We have all the tools we need. We don't need anyone to come and save us. So this is a tool for us. I don't profess to do the work you all do every day. I make the tools that you can go out and use for the work that you do. So thank you for letting me be a part of that throughout my whole career.
Absolutely. And I'm going to bring someone you know very well, Holly Holiday, up to the stage as we get ready.
I got to get him.
Okay, she's Holly, I'm giving you the cue. She's backstage doing some work, but I wanted her to come up as we talk about the continued partnership and what we do together. And Holly knows this work, but she also knows the broad work.
It's
and she's a proud member of Alpha Kappa Alpha. So before all the presidents start coming back on to give final remarks, I wanted Holly to jump in here with you. Holly, wasn't that just like, it's mind blowing. You've been watching it from the beginning.
Listen, they will tell you, I feel like I've been through this since the very beginning. And I am so excited about the new ending. I am so excited that the people get to see it. I think that he is calling attention to something that is so significant that we take for granted that people are just going to be okay.
Right.
And we are not okay. And we should have learned this during COVID when we were living in isolation and we saw the impact of the mental health of that. That should have made us more sensitive. Maybe for some it did. But this film right here,
it's next level.
Listen,
next level.
Film right here, one, and I've told Nate this, one of the most important things that this film does is it not only gives you the experience of the person who has to endure the solitude, it gives you the understanding of the family that loves this person. Because the loved ones, go through it too.
Yes.
Without understanding the detriment, the families endure with them. And that's, you don't get anything else out of this film, you'll get that.
And that's why we salute you, Dave. Thank you for hanging out with us this afternoon. Thank you for bringing the commercial break for the D9 Situation Room for the first quarter of 2026. We continue to pray for you, right? And pray for your covering as you speak boldly around the issues that affect our communities. And may God cover you so you walk with the authority and knowing that you are already positioned and predestined for such a time as this. And the D9 got your back. So we thank you. I'm going to see if my presidents can jump on for a little bit so they can just say hello to you while you are here. I'm going to bring them up so they can say hello as we get ready to start closing out with Holly giving us some words. But I want them to just say, hey, brother. So, the brothers are here. You have the president of Alpha Phi Alpha, Omega Psi Phi, MPHC. They are here. They've been supporting all day, all afternoon while we brought our guests in and out. So I just want you to know that we thank you for trusting us to share this with our community so that our members can take this word out. We want this to be a #1 movie box office hit. If we don't do it, who's going to do it? We did it for Color Purple. We've done it for others. And the D9 is going to show up again. They're going to understand. Not to come for us because we didn't send for you.
I'm so honored. I'm so honored. Thank you, brothers and sisters. I appreciate you. I'm so honored. I'm so honored. I will not stop. Every breath in my body will be telling the stories that about the beauty of who we are, who we can be, and who we will be. I heard a great quote, and I'll leave you with this. I was at an art exhibit, and I was feeling particularly down about some of the things that were happening in the country because I often fall into this position of being a fatalist. When you look around, you're like, well, what can we do differently? And the quote said, a woman was giving this monologue, and she said, very powerful. She said, we were there at the beginning, we will be here in the end, and we will be here when it begins again. So it's like we're not going anywhere. The work has been done. The spiritual work has been done.
Amen.
We hope that all the work you're doing, like I said, I just make movies. You know what I mean? I pray hard and I try to walk in my calling. But you walk in the gap every day, and you give your years and you give your time. So I love you. I appreciate you, and know that you have a soldier that will never stop. I will never stop walking in my calling, telling the stories so you can see and feel affirmed in who God called us to be. So thank you, guys.
Amen. Amen. We got you, Nate.
All
and
right.
tell David I'm practicing my accent from over the pond. So that
I'll let him know. I'll let him know.
Let him know I'm practicing.
Just send some clips over. Thank you all.
Thank you. God bless, my brother.
Bye-bye.
I tell you, family, it has been a full day. Holly Holiday is with us as we're closing down. Holly is a part of Sisters Lead, Sisters Vote. She has real stats, information that she's been tracking on some of what we see when we come together. So we don't just do D9 Stronger Together because it sounds cute and it's a nice hashtag. We have factual receipts of what happens when members of our organizations come together to inform community. We don't tell you who to vote for. We're nonpartisan, but we give you the information so that you can make an educated vote, that you can mobilize and organize for the changes that we see. That's what our founders intended. So for anyone who gets it twisted, we're not just a part of these organizations because we want to be popular. We're a part of these organizations because we chose where God directed our opportunity to serve. All different means to the same end. You talk to us, we all feel we number one. That's the inside fun, joking that we do with one another of who's outdoing the other. But that's in jest, because in honesty and sincerity, we're all doing God's work in different ways. And the outcome is for our communities to be better as a result. So Holly, you're the last one to close us out for right now with some more stats and facts, my sister, on what you want to encourage our D9 community as a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated.
Well, thank you for that. I'm going to give you 3 quick points. The first point is related to our effort in the primaries and the trend that we're seeing. And the trend that we're seeing, and I know some of you may be disappointed because your candidate maybe didn't do or didn't make it across the finish line, is not making it into the general. But I want you to think and look deeper, because a state like, for instance, I'll just take Texas as an example. In a state like Texas, we saw nearly 1 million voters, most of them Black, who weren't typically participating in primary elections. That matters. The question is, what do we do with that power? So I'll challenge you to think about, what do we do with that power? The second thing I want to say is we still have work to do. I want to, as you all know, we've been talking about it. The 1 Million Black Voters Rising program is one way to get involved, but we have to reach out to our friends and family and say, this matters. This is not about guilt or shame. This isn't about obligation or reminding people that our ancestors died. This is about what we need you to do to build for tomorrow. And the final point that I'm going to make in honor of me being in the Situation Room today is what you see before you when you see our precious D9 organizations are models of leadership. And what we do know, and I think you also saw this when you saw the Congressional Black Caucus members, is that in many cases, these organizations that you see are ground zero for leadership development, are ground zero for the leaders who not only lead within these organizations, but out in our communities. They are elected to offices and they move forward. So we encourage you, and I want to encourage everybody to not just vote this year, but all of the organizations that you see have a lot of public programming. We want you to get involved with them. We want you to stand with all of us as we do this work. This is about the collective, and we can do it if we work together. Thank you, Dr. Stacy, for letting me take up a little bit of time. And what a treat it was to be on with my brother Nate as well. So I feel like I got a bonus.
Well, we appreciate you. Holly, the work that you do is just excellence on another level. A lot of people don't know how much you do behind the scenes. You're everywhere supporting everybody. And I just want to personally just thank you for being a true sister and a true friend. I support and applaud you. You see, the other presidents clapping too, because we know when Holly Holiday is involved, honey, it's going to get done. And we appreciate having you as our support. So continue, sisters lead, sisters vote, the stats, the data that we can utilize to inform and move forward. So God bless you and thank you for joining us as we are rounding out our first D9 Situation Room of 2026. So take good care, Holly, as we now have some time with the Council of Presidents. What a day. It's been a full day. We have been committed. This is about the third or fourth D9 Situation Room that we have done to make sure that you understand when we show up together, it's for real. We are doing the work, sacrificing time and all that we do because you've trusted us to lead our most prestigious organizations and represent the vision of our founders. So today was yet another example of how we come together collectively. And you saw members of our own constituency that are leading in various areas. So I'm going to give our council their opportunity to give you their takeaways from today while we work on getting our vice chair connected, who has had all sorts of travel challenges, but we're holding it down for Graham Polmark, Jimmy McMichael of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. So General President Metellus, over to you first.
Well, first and foremost, I want to thank you, Madam Chair. You held it down for going on 2 hours and 10 minutes, and you did an excellent job shepherding all those big personalities across, and you fit right in. And so we want to say, I know I speak for all my fellow presidents when we say we appreciate and love the work that you do, and we want to applaud you personally. Thank you so much. The second thing I want to say is that there's something about good trouble that that people start attacking you when you're doing the work, Madam President Turner, and you're doing the work, Ricky. You know that people start attacking you, and so don't be dismayed by the number of attacks that are coming because they know that we're coming. They know that if we get 1 million voters registered, that's a problem for the enemy, and the enemy doesn't want us to be successful. The enemy wants us to fail. So if you're doing the work, if you're helping young people, if you're getting people registered out to vote, if you're educating our communities about what's on the ballot, people get scared. So there's real power in us coming together because it's not only D9 stronger together, it's D9 changing the world. So I know that from things that we've heard today, we'll continue these conversations, but know that we are in this fight for the long haul. And we're going to win in this fight because anytime this country has had a problem, it has been the African and the people of African descent in this country that have led real change. And so we're here today to help promote that real change. We're so proud of the work that you've done. I wish Vice Chair was here because I can only talk about the things that he's done as well. But we appreciate you and I want all my friends in the chat to know whether you're Greek or not, in a Greek organization or not. We need you in the fight because this is not only the most important election of our lifetime because everyone will matter, but this is the most important election for our children and grandchildren's future. So I'm going to turn it back over to you, Madam Chair, but thank you so much for the work you do.
Thank you, General President, for their very kind words and the support because we truly are a family. And I love and appreciate you. Ground Basilis, Ricky Lewis, President.
Hey, Madam President, let me just say something as the young folks will say. Your multicasting game is lit. I don't know how you were juggling. Man, I'm sitting there watching this, and you didn't miss a beat. I mean, when I say not a beat, I'm like, I don't know what this sister do for a living, but whatever she do, she in the wrong space. You had this director-producer game on lock. Kudos to you. Kudos to all our Council of Presidents. We all hung in there with you today. Outstanding job. And kudos to our being able to grab all these important people on a Monday in the middle of the day. I mean, these people, they got family, they're traveling, they got kids, they got jobs. So job well done by everybody. I think it was a good look for our brand, good look in terms of what we're trying to do for this midterm coming up. We just got to keep fighting. We ain't giving up. We ain't quitting. We're just going to keep fighting and keep fighting and keep fighting. Again, my kudos to you, Madam President, for making this happen today. Outstanding job by the team. And I yield back to you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Grand Vassalist Lewis. Appreciate you and always riding with me all the time,
Yes,
making
ma'am.
sure
Yes,
that you are
ma'am.
here. I appreciate you so much. And my dear sister, the one and only Cheryl Turner of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I must echo the brothers. Thank you for convening this brain trust this evening and leading us in this powerful informational forum. Everyone on here, we've got to understand that change doesn't begin at the ballot box. We must begin now to make that change. We must activate, register voters. For those infrequent voters, touch them again to get them back out there. But for all of us, check to see if you are still on the roll. There's an effort afoot to purge rolls. We don't want any surprises. If we can do that now, then we can fix it now. We don't want to be at the polling place trying to figure things out, because then our vote is lost. So please, just make it your personal commitment to not only ensure that you're stepping forward strongly, but that you're bringing other people along. Deltas, this is our 1913 moment, and we're walking in this path with our D9 brothers and sisters and other allies, and we vow to do our part. Thank you to everyone for showing up today. It was an amazing forum. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, my sister president, and excited about the work that we will continue to do together. And I see my dear sister, Grand Vassalist Marika Harris from Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority in the house. What would you like to share in your closing thoughts?
Yes, thank you, Madam President, for this event today. As President Lewis said, gathering everyone here on this occasion for such a time as this. This was needed and necessary. The conversations about the importance of voting, registering people to vote, and getting out to vote. Also checking your voting status. I stand by every president, every member of your organizations, that the ladies of Sigma Gamma Rho are ready to activate and collaborate with our D9 brothers and sisters, our civil rights partners such as the NAACP, NCNW, Black Women's Leadership Collaborative, Urban League, the National Action Network. I want to leave everybody with, don't be weary and well doing. As everyone said, every vote counts, every vote matters. In November, that's our Founders Month. So I want to celebrate not only our Founders Month, but a winning season where we are going to have some impact in our results of getting everyone out to vote. So thank you again for this opportunity, and I look forward to many more, because there's still plenty of work to be done in this season.
Absolutely. Thank you, Grand Vassalist Harris. Love you, my sister, and appreciate all that you do. And we have Grand Polaris Orlando Grant, and we're not related by blood, but by relation.
Well, all this time I thought you was my sister, so I'm just now finding this information out at 8 years old. But we are brothers and sisters in the struggle. We may have different issues, we may have different causes, but at the end of the day, we're only as strong as our weakest link. And we have to understand the responsibility of supporting one another and getting our family, friends, and loved ones to the polls. But not just getting them to the polls, educating them about the issues. Because somewhere along the line, policies, practices, and laws will impact us. It may not be in the way that you look at it, but it will impact us. We know that our sisters, over 300,000 of our sisters have lost their jobs in this year, over the last year. What are we going to do as men of the fraternities? What are we going to do as brothers in this same struggle? Because those sisters don't represent just sisters out there somewhere in this country. They're our mothers, our sisters, our cousins, our aunts. What are we going to do to support them, no matter what color you come from, no matter what organization you represent? Their struggle is our struggle. Our struggle is their struggle. So let's remember that. So remember that when we make decisions about who we vote for, what we vote for, there are consequences. So let's make sure that we are educated. Get involved. Make sure you, like my sister Madam President Turner said, activate. I mean, get to know your role on the polls, and then you activate. No matter what it is, we want to make sure that we are doing all that we can do. So at the end of the day, we can say we fought the good fight. And then whatever the results may be, no matter where you fall on the spectrum, your vote matters. And that's what we have to do. Every vote matters. And starting today, this won't be our last time you see us, but it will be the first of many times you will see us. So thank you, Madam Chair Grant. I am just honored to carry your same last name. I don't know if it's because of a reason or a season, but I would say you are my sister for a lifetime. And I'm looking forward to building up and growing together as we continue to elevate our platform to build up our communities.
Absolutely, my brother. I married into the Grant name, but it's a good name. It's a good name, a good legacy. But thank you for all that you do. And we have President Kinloch here, who he has the wonderful and exciting job of being able to support the Council of Presidents with our National Panhellenic Council, all of our various councils across the country aligning us in this work. A lot of you asked about follow-up. Where can we get links to the things that we heard about? How can we get access to information? Well, that will be President Kinloch and the executive board for our NPHC working together to collate all this information so that it can be sent out to the councils and also sent out from each of our individual organizations. So any final thoughts, President Kinloch?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chairwoman, for giving me this opportunity. And I thank the other Council of Presidents also for allowing me to serve. Madam Chairwoman, someone said earlier that you are indeed a national treasurer, and I agree with that person. So I'm going to use that at some other point over the next year, but that's awesome. But truly, there's no doubt that through our unity, that being the Divine Nine, we amplify our reach, certainly strengthen our voice, and deepen our impact. There's no question in my mind that the Divine Nine stands as a powerful force, for change, demonstrating that together we can transform our communities and inspire generations to come. President David Turner said a few weeks ago, he reminded me of the economic power and value that we have in our name. And so I just trust that we will continue to leverage it. But again, this was a great and awesome day. And thank you for allowing me to witness it firsthand.
Well, thank you, President Kinloch, for your kind words. And we know that President Danette Anthony Reed, International President of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, she was here with us to kick us off and had to go to, where some of us are in conference planning. So there's no stopping with what we have to do. Brother David Turner from Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated as well. He was here and had to get back to doing some of the work and training that he does. And of course, I'm just checking to see if our vice chair has finally gotten to a computer. Y'all send out the prayers for traveling mercies because our vice chair, Grant Polmark, Jimmy McMichael, has been fighting his way to get back home safely. And I just want to make sure we give our vice chair a chance. So, Council, if you all can check in, President Kinloch, can you see if we can just support our vice chair, if he's able to at least pop on so you can see his face, because he is my partner in this work as the vice chair of our Council of Presidents and dedicated leader of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. And I had one more surprise that I'm just checking in on before we close out today. We went a little over our time. I call this, and the other work that I do, the Holy Ghost after party. When you go past the time, right, this is when you get the good juice, something you never know might happen, just staying in the room. So while we check on that, for those of you who have been active in the chat, I wish I had an award for each of you who have been commenting. You've been sharing, you've been capturing some of the information and putting it out there. We appreciate you because you are our co-laborers. Each of us as presidents of the Divine Nine don't get to do a job unless you trust us to do it. So you elected us to serve you. We are here to serve you and to continue giving you the information that you need to translate that on the ground. We don't need anybody else telling us about the problems. We all see the problems. We're here to focus on what your options are for solutions. So thank you for being a part of those solutions. And I will just check and see one more time, and y'all just put some love. Okay, he had to do another committee. He can't get on, but he sends his love, and we appreciate Vice Chair for all that he does. So with that, we are at the end of quarter one, D9 Situation Room. We will be scheduling as we move into the midterm elections, bringing back more of the opportunities where we can come together. Our schedules are tight. It's conference season, but part of our job is keeping you informed. So thank you for rolling with us today for 2.5 hours. We appreciate your time and your participation. And I'm a woman of faith. I don't know what your faith tradition is, so allow me to close out this D9 Situation Room with a word of prayer. Lord, thank you for this opportunity to gather today, to be examples of your gifts, skills, and talents that you have placed on the inside of these leaders. Thank you for the Divine Nine, every organization that has come together to honor the tradition, the legacy, and the vision of your sons and daughters who put into place systems and operations of structure that would allow for support of scholarship and service and sisterhood and brotherhood. For those of us who believe in you, we know it's not about us, but what you do through us to be a blessing to those that we serve. So we ask you to cover and keep each one, all of our members who joined in, all who watch the replay, all who will share it, and let it lead to constructive and productive action, that your name gets the glory and the honor and the praise through all that we do. And we will say, thank you for the opportunity to represent you and serve. In the name that I know, in Jesus' name, amen. Amen. So be blessed, family.
Amen.
For those of you, and I know my council, we pray. So we know we also represent different faith traditions. Whatever your tradition is, you better learn how to pray, honey, because the times we're living in require it. So thank you. God bless you. Council, you stay put. But we're about to end right now and wish you the best second quarter of 2026. We're closing out the first one. We can't change what happened, but we sure can influence what we do next. God bless you and be encouraged. From the D9 Situation Room to your room, we love you, and there's nothing you can do about it.